Hello, 2 for 1 on end boxes today then. Only in video terms, I'm afraid, not in terms of actual sale prices. In any case, these two are already sold, so this video is to show you around these two crackers that I've imported for my import to order service. So two separate customers, both came to me, said they wanted white end boxes. They had different requirements, and these two, pleased to say, meet those requirements, but they are quite different. They travelled from Japan together, and so I thought it was only fitting that I featured them in a video together. That's not the only reason for doing that though. I thought it would be quite interesting to, I thought it would facilitate comparison between the custom SS package, this one, and the Modulo X, this one. If you saw the previous video on the channel of a white N-Box custom turbo, you may remember that I mentioned that I had a Modulo X on the way, so here it is. Another reason I thought it might be interesting to have them on together is that they're two different grades. So one's a 4.5 with a B grade interior, and the other one is a grade 4 with a C grade interior. And I'm not going to keep you in suspense for the whole video as to which is which, but I thought it might be interesting for you to compare and contrast those two things as well. Having said that though, I'm going to put a little disclaimer, a little guidance note, if you will, about auction gradings. They're only a guide. Just because it's a grade 4 or a grade 4.5 doesn't mean it's going to be a great car. There are tens of thousands of cars graded each week at auction in Japan, and there are bound to be differences within an individual inspector, differences between inspectors, differences between auction houses. So use them only as a guide rather than an absolute. However, I thought these were fairly good examples in terms of representing those differences. So yeah, I thought that was another reason for featuring them together. I hope you'll forgive my notebook in hand today. It's hard enough remembering details about one car, but I haven't got a cat and hell's chance of remembering them all for two cars. So yes, the notebook will hopefully be helping me along the way. So in terms of what's happened to these cars since they arrived, they've been washed to remove the salt spray that they've picked up from their time spent in maritime environments. They have been serviced. They've both passed their MOT, although you will see from the lack of number plates on them, they are not yet registered. So that's where we're at with these two. I haven't done the same level of interior cleaning that I have done with some of the other cars I've featured on the channel. And I think that helps give you an idea of maybe the differences in the interior gradings between the two cars. All right then. Let's introduce them, shall we? Over here we have a 2014 Honda N-Box Custom Turbo SS package, and I've featured this trim level, or a slight variation of this trim level, in a previous video. This one has done 22,000 miles, so this is a very low mileage example. There are lower, but this is pretty low in terms of mileage. And this one was the 4.5B, which makes sense with the mileage that I've just said, I suppose. SS stands for Suzuki Spacia, and as I say, I've featured this trim level on the channel before. On this side, we have 2013 Honda N-Box Modulo XG Turbo, so they're both turbocharged cars. This one has 51,600 miles, so the Modulo is a special edition which gives probably quite obviously a different front end, slightly more aero features on the front grille slash bumper, I suppose you'd say, different fog lights, surrounds, etc. It gives a special set of alloy wheels, both 15-inch alloy wheels on both of these. This one doesn't come with the wheels that are standard with the Modulo X, so the owner of this one was really keen to see it and to start applying some of the modifications that they've got in mind for this car. So this one is wearing its new wheels. I'll put a picture in now of the wheels that it was wearing, and they're when it arrived, and they are the standard Modulo X wheels. A little bit harder to show you is the suspension. So this has factory modified suspension, so it's slightly lower than all of the other N-box custom turbos, I guess. Looks quite nice as well because it's white rather than the standard black that we have on across the rest of the range. There are some minor interior trim differences as well that hopefully we'll see as we go round. Right, let's have a look round the outside of these cars then, starting with the SS package. They've both got keyless entry, keyless start, power sliding doors both sides, power mirrors, cruise control, monsoon shields as we see here. So this one's got the factory 15-inch alloy wheels with a full matching set of Bridgestone tyres. We've got these extra little arch extensions down here, which pleasingly are in very nice condition. They often suffer with damage, the cars that have them, but these ones are in really good condition. So the reversing light just there has been converted into a fog light, as you'll be familiar with if you've seen previous videos of mine. Try and avoid any danglers, and by that what I mean is fog lights attached to the lower lip of the rear bumper. Little spoiler there, as features across all of the customs. Privacy glass on the tailgate and the rear windows. You may have spotted just a tiny little scuff down there. We knew about that before bidding, and that will be pretty hard to spot once it's been touched up with some correct paint. Seems odd for me to say correct paint, doesn't it? But you see a lot of cars at auction where someone's just slapped on any old bit of white paint that they had lying around, not the right colour, not the right pearl, and yeah, doesn't look great. Why am I zooming in on this? To say that all this chrome work, I know it's plastic, but all this chrome work is in really nice condition too. This quite often suffers with damage, but this is in really good condition. Okay, so that's the first one. Let's move on to this one. So you can see in a bit more detail the differences in the front end there between this one here and this one here. The last white N-box custom turbo that I did a video of had this section in body colour rather than chrome, and that's when I referenced this car that I knew was on the way at that point. So we see it again here. Slight differences to the shape of the front bumper, as I've said. So these BBS alloys that my customer has chosen really look very nice indeed on this car. I think they fill out the wheel arches slightly more. You can also see on this one that theme of having trim pieces in body colour rather than chrome continues on the tailgate. And you may also spot, as we come round to that front bumper again, that these cars have got matching front bumper scuffs. This one's slightly larger, but again, we knew about it beforehand. The customer was quite happy to go ahead and place a bid. Don't they look good together? I really love these cars, you may have noticed, but a lot of you do too, so that's good to hear. But yeah, what a cracking pair of M boxes we have here today. A brief look under the bonnet, and I can certainly tell from the engine bays which car has done more miles than the other one. This is clearly, to my eye anyway, much cleaner. Than this one. Trying not to cast a shadow. There we go. Not that that means an engine bay like this is something to be avoided. The engine still sounds very good, but you can certainly tell which one has spent more time on the road. All right, let's have a look at the interiors now. We'll go in reverse order compared to the exterior. So we'll start with the Modulo first. I've turned them round to try and reduce the amount of shadow and stuff that we've got on the interior. Not completely achieved that, but we'll have a go. So this is the grade C interior, so you'll notice it's a bit more mucky, you know, things like that there. Benefit from a good wet shampoo, vacuum. Slightly different trim infill pieces here, and that carries on across the dashboard, as you'll see. We've got blue interior lighting in the footwells on this one to match the blue stitching on the leather steering wheel. When my customer came to put those BBS wheels on, he also put these cracking Mugen floor mats in. That light coloured contrasting strip across the front there really sets it off very well. Same in the back too. The pedal extensions are aftermarket. I thought I might have to remove those for the MOT, but it turns out they were fitted quite well, quite securely. I've had cars before where they really haven't been fitted very well and they're loose, so not particularly safe. There's the fog light switch. We had a blank switch space there, so put that in there. Cruise control, as I've said, there's the controls for that on the right hand side of the wheel. The dials, the heating, ventilation, AC controls, the paddle shifters on the steering wheel. You've heard me have a little rant about those before, so I won't do it again. They're all the same between the two cars. The head unit on this one, it's got the standard issues of the navigation not working. It's got FM radio, but it need a band expander to cover the full frequency range in the UK. I think my customer has plans to take this out altogether and replace it, so a bit of a moot point whether it works that well or not over here. The two-way mirrors you'll be familiar with if you've seen any of my other videos. So the seats, this is the C grade interior. You'll see a few marks on the seats. They would definitely benefit from a shampooing, a wet vacuum. And they come up quite nicely. Let's have a look in the back. And in the boot. The seats are in their rearmost position at the moment. And it can also go there, so that just gives you an idea of the difference in the angle between the two. Tools, jack, tyre inflation kit, towing eye, and there. I haven't shown them, but both of these came with a good range of books, some service history, owner's manuals. You see on here little things that give away the fact that it's had a bit more use. Just these little scuffs where people's hands or keys, if they've been careless, have scratched the recess there. That usually polishes out pretty well. Okay, let's have a look at the SS package now. This was the B grade interior, remember? I think the difference will be quite obvious to you. Point out the difference in the trim here, because I pointed it out as we opened the door on the Modulo. So this is a kind of a glittery black contrast to the other. Original factory mats with this red stitching around the edge. These haven't been cleaned. This is the condition they were in on arrival, which for mats on an auction car is pretty good, I have to tell you. Leather steering wheel again, cruise control again. Now this one didn't have space. It's got some braking assist which can be switched off there, so it didn't have a spare switch space, so I had to put the switch. I discussed it with the owner beforehand. We'll put the switch just down there instead. Reversing camera again over here. This one's got Bluetooth audio as well, so that gives a bit more functionality in terms of being able to use navigation, music playing on your phone, and then stream it through the head unit. I hope it's obvious to you that the seats and the interior in general is much cleaner on this car. That's not to say the other one won't come up clean with a good bit of work, but it just gives you an idea of the difference, I guess. Not sure I mentioned it, but they both came with two original keys. So you have the buttons for the doors on the keys, as well as being able to be controlled on the doors themselves, and also the driver has some buttons down by their right knee to control the doors. Okay then, I hope that's been interesting for you to compare and contrast these two different models, as well as obviously seeing two more examples of the type of car I can import for you through my import to order service. I've deliberately not mentioned anything about cost, and that is because the cost of the cars is between me and my customer. In terms of the difference between the two, it probably won't surprise you to hear that this one was more expensive than this one. Mileage is a huge determinant of the selling price at auction for these cars, and this one's got less than half the miles of this one, so it stands to reason that if we're comparing two cars in similar condition, the one with the lower mileage is going to be more expensive than the one with the higher mileage. If you'd like me to import a car for you, then I would obviously be very happy to do so. My email address is in the description to this video, so please get in touch with me via that email address and we can get the ball rolling from there. It doesn't have to be an N box. Shock horror, it doesn't even have to be a K car. Just wanted to clarify that because you may think I have a bit of a thing about N boxes, which clearly I do, but I have imported other cars for customers and happy to do so. Okay, thanks for joining me. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, if you want to see more videos like this as and when I publish them. Thanks for watching, and I will look forward to seeing you again for the next one. Bye for now.